Alright, in this session we're going to talk about GWizard Editor. This is an editor that we're going to download onto our laptop or computer. I don't think it works on your phone or your tablet. I actually have never tried that. But what's nice about this editor is as you are entering code, and even in lesson 1 we talked about the Cartesian coordinate system and we found our x and y values. And we wanted to make sure that we learned whether or not to put a negative or a plus value to those coordinates. So what's nice about this software, and I'm going to select top view, is as soon as I start coding or entering x and y coordinates, and let's just start with x 2 inches, y 2 inches, notice that the tool is already going to that position. So I hit enter and I'm going to have a 4x4 square and I'm going to find the intersection points. So the next one will be still x2 but y will be -2 decimal, and notice it went to that position. So now we'll go to x -2 inches, y -2 inches. Then we go to x -2 inches, y 2 inches. And then we make one more entry to close that square up. We'll go back to x 2 inches, y 2 inches. So what's nice is that as soon as you start entering your values, it'll actually show the shape and you will know if you got your plus and minuses right. Because if you, for instance, just squeeze a minus in there, notice it shows an error right away. So it's very nice to, in the simulation section, see exactly the shape that you are looking to program, and you'll know right away if you got your plus and minus wrong. So for the rest of the course we're going to be using this GWizard editor, and so in the next session I'm going to show you where to go and download this software, and then we'll come back and I'll show you some basic functionalities. So let's get that downloaded right now. Alright, so go ahead and copy the link that I provided in the email right here in the address bar. It should say CNC Cookbook, GWizard Editor free trial sign up. Click OK or enter, and that brings you to this page. You're going to have to enter an email address. Make sure you know which one you used, because that is what basically sets up your account. That is tied to your account. It won't let me show you anything beyond this page because I've already used a couple of email addresses, but just put your email address right here in this box, then click on start now. It's free, and just follow the commands of each page, okay? And that should give you a 30-day trial free, and it looks like you even get a 30-day money back guarantee if you don't like it. So go ahead and get that installed, and I'll show you what the icon will look like on your desktop once it is installed and how to take it from there. Alright, so once it's done installing, you can double click on this GWizard Editor icon. I'm going to go ahead and double click on it, and it should open up something like this. The first thing you want to do is go up here and click on login. You should see your name right here, Howdy T. Stickelman, login, and just click on one of these options available. Okay, so if I click on login, click accept, and now the software is functional. So what I would highly recommend is that we watch a little video that basically shows you the functionality explained by Bob, who is the one that actually created this software. So let's do that right here under getting started, and let's see if it lets me record. Let's go. Show me. Yep, I'm set up, and I'm going to double click on this right here. Alright, watch on YouTube.
Howdy friends, I'm here today to give you a quick video overview of how to get started with CNC Cookbooks GWizard G-Code Editor and Simulator. Let's check it out. Here's what the product looks like after you get it installed. If you don't have it yet, just go to the CNC Cookbook site, click the software menu pick, and there will be a button to get you to the GWizard Editor page where you can register and download it and all of that good stuff. First thing you need to do once you do have it installed and registered is to log in. So just come over here and click the login button and give it your email as your login. And assuming you're all registered, that's all you have to do. It'll remember that login from there on out, and you can start it up anytime. As you can see, everything here is pretty straightforward. We've got pull-down menus just as you'd expect, file, edit, an insert menu that gives you various specialized insertions appropriate to G-code. A simulator menu. Our simulator lets you run through and debug the G-code by running it in a simulated mode and giving you a bunch of additional information. These are your tools for revising the G-code. You can make various interesting transformations. You can add or delete spaces, change the ARC formats. All sorts of different things are available as revisions. Last but not least, there are various options available for the backplot, which is this graphical view that you see here on the right. There's a toolbar. We'll start out at the top. There are 3 levels to the toolbar. The top is what we call our login bar, and it's common for all of our products. You've got the login. You've got a button that'll take you to a getting started page, which has a lot of useful resources. You'll find this video on that page, for example, but it has many more resources for you. The support button will take you to our customer portal where you can ask questions, search our knowledge base, and get help of various kinds. We have a user club, which is forums for talking about the product. It tells you what the latest version you have, and whenever there's a new version, there's a help button, and there's a tip button that'll pop up a helpful tip that tells you a little bit about what's going on. You can make those go away, but we recommend that you continue to let tips show when you first get the product installed. Next, we have standard editing icons, including special find and replace and jumps and revisions. These are the buttons to control the simulator. We'll have more on that in a video that's about the simulator. Here's your setup button. Very important. You'll want to use this to customize GWizard Editor for your machine and set up a post so that it understands your particular controller's G-code dialect. We have a whole chapter on setup in our user guide. And then the last row of tools basically give you a variety of different specialized ways to insert blocks of code together with more simulator debugger buttons. Now over here is where your G-code program will appear, and let me just bring up a simple program. So you got G-code over here, you've got a backplot over here on the right. In this case it's basically an engraved aluminum control panel for a project I was doing. You can manipulate this backplot on the right. Just hold down the right mouse button key and move your mouse to rotate around and see things. You can use the scroll button on the mouse to get closer or further away. There are different views. You can view it from directly above, front, or right, and these views will change depending on whether you have a lathe or a mill. There are a number of other types of information you can get as well. For example, if we go to hints, what we see is a description of each line of G-code in simple English. And there's also a lot more interesting information there. For example, all sorts of information about ARCs that would otherwise be hard to come across. There's an error tab that shows you any errors that we detect in your G-code. A tool tab telling you which tools are being used by your program. You can turn tools on or off just by clicking these little light bulbs. And you can also display the tools in different colors to make it more obvious what's going on. A list of any sub-programs, there's just the main program here, and an info tab that tells you all sorts of basic information about what's going on in your program. This particular program has 764 lines. This shows you the maximum movement on every axis in both overall movements, which includes your rapid movement and movement at feed motion speeds, your range of spindle speeds, your range of feed rates, how long we predict this program would take to run, 17 minutes. This is based on information you give us about your machine. The total distance traveled in the cut, both at feed speeds and in rapids. Some statistics about your G-code usage, number of errors. There were 185 G-codes, 13 M-codes, 311 line moves, 858 arc moves. There's a lot of radius to edges and circles and holes and things in this program. 89 feed rate changes, 2 spindle speed changes, and 2 tool changes. Ignore this information, it says debug. There's various things around the program that are there to help me finish it up while it's in beta test and give me a few clues about what's going on. The last thing you'll notice is at the bottom is a status bar, and it's showing you various bits of information. If your cursor's over the back plot, it's going to show you the approximate coordinates where your cursor is. There's a DOS file name. A lot of controllers are limited to simple DOS file names, so we'll show you what this big long name, home switch rear panel engrave.ncc, would be this much shorter name on any control that has limitations on the file names. So that is a quick overview. One more useful thing to know about for the back plot, if you click this little button, it's zoom extents. That'll scale the back plot so you can see everything. If you get things too screwed up, click that. The back plot will also automatically update anytime you change anything, but you've also got a button that'll make it go through and completely redo the back plot. So there you have it. That's the basics of getting started with GWizard Editor. There'll be more videos to cover the other aspects of the GWizard Editor. Thanks very much for your time.
Alright, so Bob just kind of went over the functionality and over all the different buttons. It was a little bit older revision that he was showing you, so I'm going to do a little bit similar thing. I'm going to also pull up a program and just kind of give you a run through of this newer version, just a little bit shorter version of that. So as soon as you pull up the program, it basically shows you the tool paths. Okay, now this is a milling operation, and we're doing some milling on the sides, and we're facing the top, and we're drilling some holes, and then we're circle milling some larger holes with an end mill in this operation. So you can see all these different tools are called out. You can drag this sidebar and just kind of look at every operation inside that program. Quite a bit of code. This was actually generated by a CAD/CAM software, but at the place that I worked at on the weekends, the majority of the time I would have to look at a problem with an existing program, and what I would do is I would load it in this software and just let it run, and it would either show me an error or show me where a problem was. Okay, because I would probably already know where in the program the issue was, and I would go directly to that tool and then see what's going on and correct it. Okay, so right now I am in perspective right here. You can see this button is highlighted, so that means if I hold my right button down and I just move it around, you can see I can kind of look all around. Okay, then your center button, you can zoom in and out, and that's the view that I personally like because it kind of gives you a 3D perspective of it. So first of all, let's look at this setup tab, and I have it set up for a Haas VF3. So I selected that from this top menu right here. If you click on that, then you can select a machine from all machines. So this tab up here in blue, up in the upper right hand corner, you can kind of go down this list and just add a machine to that list. So if I wanted to pick a Haas VF2, mine is set to Haas VF3, Haas VF2, add to my shop, OK. So it automatically selects it. So if I click back into that page, select the Haas VF3, now I'm set to Haas VF3. Okay, then type, most likely it will be set to mill, then it's a Haas VF3. Now this is mainly for history. Okay, this has nothing to do with simulating, well, a little bit with simulating, but some of this information right here is not really necessary to be able to simulate the program and to be able to edit and all that. Okay, it just kind of helps to have the right machine, and especially right over here on the right to select the right post. Right here where it says CNC control post, I set it to Haas mill. You select that from this list. These are the posts that are available. If you don't see anything there, then you may have to click on this download latest posts, okay, and it will download them for you, especially if you just installed the software. Okay, so usually I leave everything alone and click save and close, and then we are ready to go. So first of all, let's talk about these little play buttons here, because it's sometimes a little tricky. First of all, we're going to slow this thing down to 15. So if you click on this little icon, obviously this little icon means slow and this little icon means fast. Okay, and then you can also manually bring it up and down. All right, so we click rewind, and that brings the cursor, you can see the blue cursor, to the top of the program. Okay, now if you click this button on the right, if you hover over it, it says single block. So if that's highlighted and I click play, it only clicks one block at a time. So that is sometimes how I would troubleshoot programs in an area where there is an issue, so that I can see what it is doing. And you can see here, let me drag this up a little bit. You can see each time I hit play, it gives us a description of what the program is doing right there. So right there it's doing a tool change, tool number 20. So it gives you a nice description. So I mean, this software is just really powerful. Alright, so you turn single block off, you click play, and you can, when it's set to slow, which is 15, you can pretty much keep up with the simulation and every pass and every stroke it makes. So let's watch this a little bit. Now you can start increasing that speed. If you want to see more of the simulation area, then just drag this bar down like that, and it opens up that whole page or window. So of course we're going to speed that up a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this program in an email. You can see all the center drilling, the drilling, mill center through hole. So we want to speed that up a little bit. All I've done was drill a hole down the center, and now an end mill is actually circle milling the rest of it out. This is a steel plate, so I'm going about half the depth. Again, if you drag this up, you can see the X, Y, and Z locations. You can see it's operating close to X0, Y0, so that means that the center of that plate in this case is the origin of the program. So we're sitting at Z minus 420. You saw it jumping up, now it's minus 630. So it's doing it all over again, it's stepping down as it is removing that excess material inside that hole or pocket, whatever you want to call it. So we drag this down. If you're done watching it slow, just click on fast and it should start speeding up. Sometimes you have to, well, I wouldn't hit the stop button because that might rewind you, but you should see it start speeding up. Well, actually it didn't, so if I stop it, now you can see that the cursor is stopped right here on line 736, but notice it started all the way over once I hit play again. But since I got this set to 100%, you can see it's doing that a whole lot faster. Alright, and then it stops. Once it reaches an M30, it goes right back to the top of the program, and it basically gives you the information about the program. Time 22 minutes, adjusted time 23. So good stuff. Like I said, I'm gonna leave a copy of this program in the email, so if you actually install this program, you can take that file, open it up, and see this exact same thing, and that will give you something to play with. Alright, so you'll have to install this software to be able to keep up with the next G-code lesson. And what I also highly recommend is that you, once you get it installed, click on Getting Started and get to this menu right here. And we have watched this first quick tour, but I would highly recommend that you watch all these little sessions right here to get a good sense of how the software works. Okay, so invest your time there, and then we'll move on to the next lesson in G-code programming.